So I guess to start off, what was your initial reaction when you first found out about Jesse Butler, not only what he did, but the just blatant slap on the wrist that he received from the so-called justice system?
I was quite shocked actually, after finding out exactly what he did. Um, I immediately looked into it to see maybe, maybe there was some things that couldn't hold up in court for the,
Mm.
like he said, she said. But when I found out there was actual evidence, video evidence, and um, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Like there should have been justice.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was really shocked at the outcome, and there was no jail time. Pretty much, he got sweetheart deal. There was no punishment at all, in my opinion.
Now, this has gained national attention. News outlets from across the nation are covering it. There's been outrage across the state. Can you talk about what you did as a response in your community?
As a response, I knew it wasn't. I had come across it on social media, but it wasn't out there enough. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that didn't know about it, didn't know about the case. It was kind of hush hush. I just happened to be friends on, Facebook friends with somebody that knew the victims, and that's how I got wind of it. So I put it out there, in our community pages and our local community pages. And as I had saw that there was people were just outraged by it. I just had a pulling that I needed to do more. Just putting it out into the community pages and letting our community know wasn't enough.
Mhm. Now, Stillwater showed up for that protest.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the support from the community, and what do you hope comes out of this?
Um, I my thoughts about I honestly I honestly didn't think it would go as far as it did. When I first saw, I thought, me, if 25 people show up, that's 25 people. Um, but I was pretty shocked at the response that I've been receiving, and in the middle of a work week at that, and how many people that we had that took time out of work to show up to voice their opinion and take a stance. So I was surprised, and actually, I just felt it was a great thing that we needed to do, to take our stance. So I'm glad that people had found their voice and was able to show up and do that. In the future, I hope more people stand up, um, and get things done. I'm hoping we could get a grand jury investigation on this case and many other cases that have gotten the same outcome as this one, and the victims lose in this matter. Um, so
I
that's my
wanted
hope.
I appreciate you sharing that. I know a lot of people across the state and across the nation are having the same hopes that justice will actually be done. Um, you know, do you believe that this is a standalone case, or do you believe that maybe this speaks to a culture that we've never really gotten rid of?
I think it speaks to a culture that we never really gotten rid of. I think, as I was going through this process, I've learned, many people have come to me and told me about their cases. Through people that I've been working with, we've also found cases that are just appalling. You know what I mean? There was a case in Cushing, and I don't have the name in front of me, so I don't remember the name. But there was a case, and it tried here in Payne County. It was a teacher, um, had was sexting a minor,
Mm.
and pretty much did very minimal jail time. Got out way early before he was supposed to. He was released, and he offended again. He um had assaulted a 16-year-old. Again, he went back, into the courts and they let him out again. And he's done this multiple times and he's still walking the streets today. Which is, I mean, it's school teacher. I mean, and he's still walking the streets and being able to repeat offend. And I think it's a culture thing that has never been addressed and has been swept under the rug and not really brought to the limelight like it needs to be.
Hmm. Have you heard anything about these DAs that took part in this deal, um, giving any responses to the community, or have you gotten any responses from public officials to your protest?
We have gotten no responses. We have reached out. I know media has reached out, and it's no response. They're not speaking. Um, so it's kind of where we're at.
Mhm. And my last question, we're living in a time where a lot of women's rights and freedoms have either been taken back, or there's threats to take them back. Um, what do you think men's role should be right now in this moment when it comes to not just protecting women in their community, but making sure that everyone has the rights, the freedom, and the dignity to feel safe?
I think men need to stand up. I think, um, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if but in these types of situations, it's majority women that stand up. I could say when we did the rally, um, when we did the rally on the 5th, it was majority women. There were men there, but it was majority. I would say probably about 80 to 85% women that showed up. However, I will say when the high schoolers showed up, it was close to 50-50 of women, of the ladies and the boys that had showed up, which I was pretty shocked by, that many boys had showed up. Teen boys had showed up to the protests when the high schoolers showed up later in the day. Um, but in the morning, it was primarily women, and I think men need to stand up and take a stance as well, and not wait until it's their child or their wife or a family member, or and then they want to use their voice. I think it needs to happen before that, so we don't have to stand up when it's their child or a family member. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, absolutely. Well, Melissa, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you want the people of Oklahoma to know?
I just want them to know just to, use your voice. It works. Peaceful protest works. Obviously, you see the result after the 5th. We've made worldwide news pretty much. So it does work. It's going to work. We do have the grand jury petition that we're working on right now. So Payne County residents, need to look out for that. Definitely sign for that so we could get that passed through and get an investigation going, to see what exactly is going on behind those closed doors, and why these individuals keep walking. Why did Jesse Butler get the sweetheart deal? So definitely keep fighting because it's going to be a long fight. It's not going to fix itself tomorrow. It's going to be a long fight to get what we need to get. And the next election, let's get this DA out and get a new one in.